Hello and welcome back. In the previous lecture, we saw that how we can write a method which will be the starting point, or you can say the entry point for the socket thread, where we will start our socket communication. So here we have called it like GSoC thread. Start socket communication was the entry point, and if my socket is not going to start, if my thread is not going to start, it has not been initialized basically, then in that case, this sock thread will come as null. And in that case, what we will do, we will simply, you know, uh, fail the service and we will stop. We will not start the service because there's no point starting the service. Okay. Now, this is the function inside which I have written some dummy code to see that how my service, whether my socket server thread will be started or not. Right. So I have removed all that code and now I'm going to call the real object, which is the socket com object. So I will be creating the object of this particular class, which is socket com. And after that, we will see that how it is behaving. So first of all, here I will need that socket communication.h header file. So let us include that. So hash include socket communication.h, this header file. And whenever you add some header file, first thing you should do, like you should compile it. Okay. So let me first compile it, or you can say build it, right? Directly build it. You can see 123 errors have come, right? Why these errors are coming? Let me tell you one thing, that if you have used windows.h header file inside your source file, and if you are using any other header file which you are including in your source file, and in that file as well, like this header file as well, we have included winsock2.h as well, which means that we have used another header file which is related to the Windows functions and Windows macros which could have been written. So in that case, what you have to do, you have to be very careful, in the sense that there could be the macros which could clash here, right? Which could be missing here, right? When it will be compiling, then in that case, due to the wrong sequence of macros being there, it could be having some kind of issues, and it could lead into these kind of issues, these kind of compiler errors. So there are 123 errors which have been shown to you. But let me tell you that these are not 123 errors. There is only one error. And that error is this thing, right? Like because of these macros not correctly identified by the compiler, what is the value, and if the value is correct or not, these particular macros have been undefined for it. They are not recognizable for your code, and that is why these errors are coming. So this is all about the header file placing at the wrong location. So let me put it at the correct location. So let me just Control X and let me put it here. And now let us compile it. Here you go. Now there is no error. Only a successful message is there that this build has been succeeded, right? So this thing you should take care of, right? That the sequence of header files is really important. In case you get these errors again and again, then in that case, you can go through the MSDN documentation and you can find out that if the header files for Windows have been used in a sequence, then what should be that sequence, right? And if you are getting some kind of error, then what could be the possible reason for that? And nowadays you have AI as well. So you can post that question to AI as well, and it will give you the recommendation that why this is coming, right? So it will give you the all the probable reasons. But if you are aware about this thing, that the header file sequence could be a problem, then you can find out an answer from the AI itself, that I have placed these files in this sequence, and these are the header files called inside this header file, right? These are the header files included in this header file, and I have included all these header files in this manner. Then what could be the possible issue due to which I am getting the error? So it should be able to give you some kind of suggestion, right? But yeah, this is the basic concept you should be aware of, right? So let me compile it, and after just adding this code, so I'm just going to add this code. I'm just going to add an object here, which is socket com object, socket com asterisk psoc, psoc com is equal to new socket com, and then psock com to start socket server. So this is the function. This start socket server is the function written inside this socket com, which is actually starting all the things. And wherever there is a possibility of any error, I have placed this statement return exit failure. Just like here, if socket creation has been failed, then also I have written like return exit failure. And if we are failing to set the socket options, then also I am putting like exit failure. If I am not able to set the socket as blocking or non-blocking mode, then in that case also I'm putting it as return exit failure. So everywhere, wherever there is a possibility of failure, I have added it. Okay. And after that, at the end, this is the last place where I have to put it. Failed select, because there is a select call. I will tell you all about these calls again, because there is a course already on this platform, and that has been, published by me only. There is another course by me, which is on the socket. So you can go through that entire course. You can purchase that. You can go through that, and you can see what you can do. What you can you should do to call a socket uh, API in a correct manner, right? So this is the select API call, which is the final call in here. And if this select API call is okay, then in that case we will be running inside a while loop, and this will be running forever. This thread will be running forever. This thread, right? Because this function will not return. But in case there is a problem, right, and this function returns, then we need to exit this thread, right? We need to exit this thread if some kind of error comes, right? So as of now, let us see, if we don't check it, then what will happen? Will my service stop? If something wrong happens, then will my service stop? We can see that. We are assuming that this will work fine, but who knows? It may be that it is giving some error, right? Maybe it could give some error, right? Like it may fail at select, because I have seen that this is failing at the select. We will fix this select issue in the later videos, but in this video, we are going to see that if this select is failing, which will be failing, and if this is failing, then are we able to handle it properly to, just have this service running, or we are going to stop this service or not? What we are going to do, that we are going to see, right? So I have just called it, and my service will my call to select will fail here. My call to select will fail here. This message will come. I have checked it. This message will come. But even after this message comes, your service will not stop. Let me show you, which is wrong, right? Because if your socket has not been started, it has not been working properly, it is not waiting inside a loop for the incoming connections, then in that case, what is the purpose of keep running this service, right? So in that case, you have to stop this service. But let us see if my service will stop or not, right? So I have just called this, and my select will fail, right? So let me run it. There is yeah, this is the logger file. Let me open this logger file, and before I open this, I need to remove all the previous logs, and then I will just start my service again. This has been started. This is running, right? Let us see what has happened. This main service main function has been called, and now let us see again the service main function call. Let me see why this is not coming. This unnecessary function. Why this is only coming like the service main function has been called? The service main function called, and after that, there is no such message which is coming. See, nothing coming, which is wrong. Let me see what is wrong here. This is running. Okay, this is running here, and I have called this function here, start socket communication as well. and socket communication as well has been started. Then also it is not giving me any message from here. It should have given me some message from here as well, right? These things like error is equal to 0, then successfully slice socket lib. This should have been given here. Why that is not coming? That's the question now. Okay, so start socket server. Let me build it again. Rebuild. Oh, okay. I think I have not rebuilt it again, and then I should have started, but I have not done that. So yeah, now I started it. Now let us see. Yeah, now you can see the service. So what was the error? The problem was that I did not rebuild it again, right? That is why the new code was not in place, and that is why only that service main function call you were able to see. But now what has happened? That the service main function has been called, the socket library has been sliced, socket opened successfully, everything is final, everything is good. But finally, this failed select function has been failed, right? If you come here, then this particular thing has failed. Select call. The select call has failed, and this has returned exit failure. So even after returning this, this service is running, happily. This should not run. This should stop. This should not move ahead. Basically, this service should not have been started at all. If my server socket, if my socket was not initialized successfully, if my socket logic was not initialized successfully in such a manner that it is able to wait for the incoming client connections, then in that case, it should have been stopped. This service should have been stopped, but this has not been stopped. So what should I do now so that it stops when I am not able to start the socket, right? So let me do that. Let me first close all these things. Service has been stopped. Let me close all this. And now let me do one thing. Int nret is equal to this, right? And now if nret is equal to exit underscore failure, then in that case, what I will do, I will simply do the same thing which I am doing, which I should do when my thread is not able to start. So if nret is equal to exit failure, then in that case, I will stop my service immediately. My service will not start. And before returning, I will exit. Yeah, this is returning. Not basically, you don't have to write like return. Here you need to write like I'm exiting from the thread, and I will give nret. So it will return from the current thread. Exit thread will be returning from the current thread. Okay, so let me just rebuild it. And now let us see what will happen. Now let me run it again. Everything I have removed, the previous logs. Now I need to start it. You can see here. Now it is good. It has not been started because we should have got this error here. Here you go. Failed selected, closing the server, the thread for socket communication not started. That's it. So we are able to correctly identify why we failed. So service should not have been started because we are not able to start the socket communication mechanism properly. Okay, so I hope you are able to understand it properly. And now let me just push this code. So let me start the GitHub's desktop. And let me see how many files. Oh my God, these many files have been there. So this has already been stopped. So let me just push it here. Calling. Oh, okay. Soccom object initialized. So same thing. So I'm committing it. Okay, permission denied, which means I need to close all these files because all the code I'm committing. So now let me commit it. Now this will be committed properly. All these files that have been updated, they will be committed. Now let me push it. Now it has been pushed. All the code changes have been pushed now to my repository, and you can just clone all the code from my repository, which is a public repository. So 96%, writing object 45%. It should be closed soon. Okay, now it has written everything. Now you can open this repository. This is the repository and I can see what I have written inside this file. So this is socket communication Windows services.cpp. Okay, here you go. This is the main and yeah, this is my socket communication thread, which I have written here. So this has came here. So you can clone it again and you will be getting the fresh code. So I hope you must have enjoyed this particular lecture because these lectures are really different from the other courses that you might have seen. You are writing a brand new project here and you are facing all those problems. You are able to see all those problems which comes during the development of the project, right? So I hope you are enjoying and you can put the comments in the comment section and you can give me the feedback. Thank you. Have a nice day. We'll meet soon again.